All right, we got it. Three, two, one. Nicolas, it's always an absolute pleasure seeing you. How are you, sir?
I'm fantastic. How you doing?
Good. Thank you. Thank you for jumping in. How have you been?
I've been awesome, man. The week, it's been a bit of a tougher week this week, just with like holiday ramp ups. I'm going back to see my parents and stuff for Christmas, and so that's always like a mental preparation more than anything. But it's been really, really good. I've hit a lot of key milestones in my business, and I'm getting to the point where I'm scaling quickly and efficiently, which is really nice, and have options. And my lead pipeline is growing, so awesome.
Dude, happy days. That's exactly what you're here for. Tell us a little bit about your business. What do you do?
Yeah, so my business, it's called DieHard Factory. I don't actually tell anybody the name because it's not that important, but I feel like I'll just explain it. Why not?
Please do.
So what I do is I build out sales funnels for online trainers. It's what I call fitness trainer funnels. And so the main two things that I sell are organic content packages. So that's short form content like YouTube Shorts, Instagram, TikTok. And then after that, I sell educational email courses, which is it's an automated mechanism that builds your email list on autopilot, and it sends the subscriber a free course over the span of 5 days. And that builds your email list with warm prospects who are ready to buy instead of just getting them to sign up because you sent them to a landing page.
Got it. All right, super clear. And why are we having this conversation? When did you join Selfmastered and why did you do it?
Yeah, so we're having this conversation because I joined Selfmastered at the end of August, very end of
Yes,
August,
3 months, 4 months ago.
beginning of
3.5 months ago. Yeah.
3.5 months ago, beginning of September. And honestly, I had heard about you from Dakota Robertson,
Mm-hmm.
and I like your tweets, and you'd kind of message me back and forth. And so I didn't know I was in the market for Self-Mastered. I didn't know what exactly you did, but I heard that you help people with productivity. And I'm like, well, I could always use help with that because sometimes I am a bit helter-skelter, so I could use help with that. And so when we got on the call, the thing that you said that sold me, and like it didn't matter what price you said, it would have made it work. You said was like, athletes when they go to the Olympics, they don't just train like weights and running and basketball, like their technical skills, but they also need to train their performance skills too. Like, their mental health. They need to figure out like how do they view the world, how are they going to properly prepare emotionally and mentally, and like entrepreneurs don't have that. So like it's no wonder that entrepreneurs constantly burn out. Entrepreneurs have no idea where to go from here. They feel brain fog. Like, yes. And so when you said that, I was like, oh, yeah, why don't I have that? Like, am I stupid? Like, yeah, I need that. But like, when you broke everything down, like, this is what we do. This is how comprehensive it is. It's scientifically backed. Like, now, obviously, if you're just like, yeah, why don't they do that? And you show me like a garbage pitch, I'd be like, okay, well, let me look for that somewhere else. But the pitch was like so well thought out. And like, it was clear you put your entire life into it. And so I was like, yeah, this is absolutely what I need. I didn't even know I needed this, but like I need this now. And so like I don't care what the price is. Okay, I'll pay. Wicked.
And what
The
happened?
biggest the biggest thing for me, and I've told you this before, and I think a lot of people don't understand this, is your program is the first program that I think has been able to mix timeless spiritual lessons and like modern business building perfectly. It's not too woo woo and flowery. And like, I have a lot of friends who are like life coaches and into the spirituality space. And so, like, trust me, I've seen people whose programs are far too like, they're there's nothing tangible that you can grab from it. And it
Mm-hmm.
focuses way too much on just be yourself and like just relax. And that's all you need in life. And it's like, okay, that's important, but like, hey man, let's say I'm married and I have kids, I can't just tell my wife like, don't worry, like the kids don't need to eat, they just need to accept themselves and it'll be okay. Don't worry about it, it'll be okay. Like that's also unfortunately not how the world works. And so like, not to play into a trope, but you know how people, they say like, oh, like Bali is full of people who go there because it's so cheap, and they get stuck because they focus so much on how beautiful it is that they don't actually build their business. So they're
Mm-hmm.
just like constantly maxing out credit cards or living on like $500 a month because they just love Bali so much.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the worst of the spiritual world.
Mm-hmm.
They get too caught up on like the beauty of the inner work and like acceptance and hard stop. You've been able to blend that with some of the best business building lessons and skills I've seen on the internet. Because a lot of people get so like, again, you probably have this approach because you've managed to blend the business and personal development with the spirituality. But a lot of people focus too hard on you need to do this specific mechanism. If you're not running ads, you need to run ads. If you're not doing ClickFunnels, you need to do ClickFunnels. If you're not, doing organic content, you need to do organic content. But you've managed to, even though everybody, a lot of different people are in different sectors, you're able to guide them in a way that's super clear for them and actually moves the needle regardless of what industry they're in. And I think that's really, really cool.
And personalized too, because we run all of these tests and to fully understand what the bottlenecks and the blind spots to make sure that they truly transform, right?
Well, the first lesson I think is so profound. And like, when I first signed up for Selfmastered and I was going through the first module, that's what kind of broke everything down for me in a way of like, oh, this is how. And now when I look back from the perspective I am 4 months in, I'm like, this is how you're able to get these results, because yeah, the way everybody sees the world is flawed. Like I don't mean to go too hard on this guy, because I mean, he's got a Portuguese name, so I can't hate on him too much, but building a second brain sucked. I'm sorry. It was a horrifying book. I hated it. There's some good content in there, but like it should have been a blog post. It was drawn out for 300 words. And I didn't know why I didn't like it so much. I felt like he was just like explaining to us how to just write notes for 300 pages. And I was like, there's too much fluff here. I need something that's actually going to move the needle and push me forward. And the way that you broke it down with systems thinking and like in that first module, I was like, oh, this is why that book, I didn't get it. This is why most productivity hacks people fall off. It's because it's not a comprehensive look on our lives. It's not a holistic look on our lives, right? And like, I think I'm a great example of that. And part of the reason why I love the spirituality and the business mix is because a lot of people look at me, and when I, like, one of my best friends, he's 40. He also runs an online business. Great guy. He coached me when I played basketball when I was younger. So we've known each other forever. And he'll always tell me when I call him and I'll be like, oh, like I'm freaking out about XYZ. And he'll like, your life is really good, right? And I'm like, well, yeah, I know. And he's like, like your business is doing really well. You don't need to worry too much about money. Like you're in a good spot. Like, that. And I'm like, I do. But for some reason, I could just never be secure in that. And so the thing with Selfmastered that helped me so much with the systems thinking was you will always perform to the level of your weakest links. And my weakest links was a spiritual aspect. My weakest link was my self-esteem. My weakest link was my inability to accept myself and my situation and come to terms with the things in the past that really hurt me. And so when I finally realized that, I was like, yeah, no wonder all this stuff doesn't work for me or I fall off. It's because there's a certain baseline of where I believe I'm at in my head, no matter where I am. Exactly. And so I can be as productive as I want. I can be as efficient as I want. I can try to set a wake up time. And, I've fallen off getting up at a certain time so many times. And even though I'm motivated and I moved to Toronto and it's new and I'm excited and COVID's over, so I'm excited to finally get back out into the real world. So yeah, I'm going to wake up at the proper time. Somehow I always end up burnt out, overworked, and hating myself. And I'm like, that's clearly a comfortable spot for me, but I don't know why I keep doing that. And so through Selfmastered, I was able to actually like walk back and be like, okay, why are these things harming me? Why am I holding on to these thoughts? And how do I properly release them? How do I understand the role they're playing in my life and how it's playing out in my business? Okay, I think my current direction is I'm smart, I'm dynamic, I'm talented, I work really hard. I'm going to build this business so much, and I know I'm going to make a lot of money. But if I don't take care of the things that are actually preventing me from being okay, I'm going to be miserable. And that's going to push a lot of people away. And so when I've self-sabotaged in my relationships a bunch. I've self-sabotaged in my own personal happiness a bunch. I've self-sabotaged in, I don't know, countless other areas. And so when I looked at that constant of like, I just can't seem to be happy. Sure. Okay. I can go to somebody and he can teach me how to time block, and he can teach me how to, build ads and a sales funnel system and hire a setter and all that stuff. And that's great. That's awesome advice. It's amazing. And it's stuff that you actually help people with if that's their biggest need. But when I looked at that, I'm like, okay, this is all information that I'm sure once I get the hang of, I'm like, it's going to be fine, but it's not going to make me happy. And it's not going to
transform you. That's the point. So that is the thing. We have this transformation, and then we also have the strategy and the tactics. But it is by becoming someone different that you're going to be doing different things. This is why most productivity advice doesn't work, because it's random tactics that just don't work conclusively because the person is the same. So you eventually fall off. You need to first unlock that identity shift and understand how to manage your mind, which is what we taught you how to do, right?
one of the best pieces of advice is, I just remember right now, one of the best pieces of advice, in, I think it was module 2, it has to be module 2, because that one was like, I could not believe what I was learning. I was like, this is insane that I'm getting this in a business course. Holy shit. Was the marker of personal development as a human being isn't the information you consume, it's how you transform. You could consume as much information as possible, but if you're the same person at the end of your life, you're going to be unhappy. And when I read that, I was like, holy fuck, you're right. That has perfectly described who I am right there. I've read so many books. Like in 2022, I read 62 books, which is too much, by the way. If you're reading 62 books, that's too many.
That's too many. Yes.
Stop reading books. In 2021, I read 50. I'm constantly listening to podcasts, listening to audiobooks, watching things online. Part of the reason why I do that is because I feel insecure. I feel like if I'm not doing that, I'll be nothing. And if I'm not constantly learning, if I'm not constantly doing it, if I'm not constantly achieving, people will think I'm a piece of shit. My girl's going to leave me. My parents are going to think I'm a disappointment. My friends aren't going to look up to me. And I'm always going to have to prove myself. And so like, I think I've read like 25 to 30 books this year, like, but they've been like audiobooks as I'm walking to the library. It's not forced. I feel like I'm learning. For me now, I realize that the most important thing is doing. But part of that realization wouldn't have come if I didn't work on the inner transformation. That's the stuff that we really nailed down.
Exactly. That's what Selfmastered provides. And how has your productivity focus? Like, let's go to the tangible aspects: your business revenue, your productivity, your focus, your emotional state. Who are you now compared on who you were before?
Yeah. So before I started with Selfmastered, I was kind of hovering around like 15K a month. I'd get to like 14, 15, 17, 20, 16, 17, 30. And then I joined Selfmastered right at the end of my 30. And right away, I jumped up to 19. It was 18, 19, and then 42. And now I'm at 21. So since I joined Selfmastered, I'm actually the first time ever back to back over 20K months. Before, we would always just kind of hover below that or around 15, which is really good. My productivity is much, much better. I actually have a good idea on how to prioritize and what I need to get done and what moves the needle forward. Excuse me, I think I might have to burp. Sorry, cut that out. But I think the most important thing too is I'm doing the least amount of work in my business. And now I'm working on my business, which is important to me. Like, because I'm working on ads now, sure, I'm working more now because I'm trying to master ads. Before, I was doing so much grunt work in the business and trying to figure out how to do everything myself that I didn't really know how to grow the business outside just post more content. Now it's like, oh, I'm having conversations with people. I had 3 calls with prospects this week. That's great. Like, my business, I've been very fortunate that the clients that I do sign usually don't leave, but like 3 client calls in a week and I'm working on ads and my team's still running things. Like, that's pretty damn good. Like, I work 30 hours a week tops. Anything more than that is
versus how much were you working before? 50, 60,
45 to 50 at least.
There you go. Not bad, dude. Not bad.
Yeah,
40% decrease.
Dude. Not bad at all. And the biggest thing now, I think, is like I have. Oh, here's another thing that led me to hit purchase on your course. When you gave me the deck and you're like 100% of our students actually believe in themselves when they're done, I was like, yeah, I need that. I need that.
Literally, right? Because dude, the way what we teach goes deeper than therapy. It really is about spirituality and how to actually apply it in a way that you take control of your mental state, and you can choose the thoughts and the emotions and eventually their behaviors, because downstream of cognition, that actually help you in your journey, right? So that's how you remove self-doubt. It's not by telling you that you're the best person ever and you have to trust yourself and love yourself. No, it's by understanding what a thought is, what an emotion is, and how to actually let go of the things that do not belong to the journey you're building. That's how you do it.
Yeah, and I think that I had something I completely lost. Oh, no. One of the things that you talk about is that your business will only grow as much as you grow, right? And like systems thinking, you're only going to perform to your weakest link. And how many people do you know are rich? They make millions of dollars, but their kids don't talk to them. They are divorced and they hate themselves and their life sucks. Lots. And like, I think Selfmastered is like I don't know if you want to put a name to that, like the miserable rich guy syndrome. Like, Selfmastered is like the antidote to the miserable rich guy syndrome, because like forces you to reflect on who you are. It forces you to grow as a person. It forces you to transform, not just to add more info of like, you know, books are great, but they can only take you so far. I think that's like books are like your gateway drug into you know, like enlightenment or mastery, but you have to do more than that because you can only learn so much through reading. You have to actually do stuff and
Actually
like
do it.
change your viewpoint, right? The point of adding more information doesn't develop you as a person. It's how you change your view on the world. Really speaks out to me because it's 150% true. There are so many people I know who see the world the same way as now when they're 50, when they did when they're 20. And it's like, what a waste of 30 years, man.
There you go. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Why would you wait 30 years to eventually learn this after a couple of business failure, a couple of divorces, if you can really, really understand the fundamentals at a very high level within 8 weeks and then have actual premium accountability to guide you through transformation? It just changes your life, dude. It really is a different life. That's the point of it all.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, I know a bunch of people who are in productivity or like helping you get out of your own way, but it's either way too flowery and like it's not firm enough with you to be like, hey, fucking stop doing this. Like get out of it's almost like sometimes they enable you through the idea of being loving and being accepting, or it's too much like, that's stupid. Why would you ever want to learn about that? That's dumb. Your business needs to make money. You don't need to like yourself. And it's like, well, I mean,
maybe a couple things.
yeah. I guess I don't need to like myself. I really want to. Like,
but it'll be nice if I did.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
So thanks for that, because we've been working on this for 6 years now, constantly refining, constantly updating. So happy to see that it's working. If someone is on the fence, what would you tell them, and who do you think this is for?
I don't know. If somebody's on the fence, I guess I would ask them, like, do you want to grow your business and feel better about yourself? No? Okay, then don't sign up. But like,
do you want to play business on hard mode? Then don't sign up.
Yeah, literally, I don't know. Like I was telling, I used to tell one of my buddies, like one of my personal mantras, and like I didn't realize this was like, I don't care if you like me, I don't care if I like me, but I'm gonna win. Like I'm just gonna beat you. And he's like, so you lose no matter what? And I was like, I never thought about that. He's like, that's not winning, that's losing.
Dude, we gotta be so careful how to manage the mind, dude, because it is so easy to get fooled by it. And who do you think this is for? What kind of entrepreneur, what kind of person do you think could benefit the most?
For the entrepreneur who, let me think about this for a sec, because my initial reaction is going to be like, for an entrepreneur who wants to make a difference outside of themselves. But I think there are some people who don't realize how important that is and just want to grow their business. They're kind of unaware. I would say for an entrepreneur who wants to grow their business as quickly as possible, for an entrepreneur who wants to scale as efficiently as possible, get out of their own way, remove their roadblocks, and discover something that's way more important than any of the business strategy that they could possibly think of. If they're open-minded enough to let themselves see something that matters way more than the business stuff, but when you link it hand in hand, your potential exponentially explodes. Like this isn't Self-Mastered isn't for somebody who wants to 5x. It's not for somebody who wants to 10x. It's for somebody who wants to 100x. And I don't say that in the Grant Cardone, like 10x by just working 10 times harder and be an insane person. Like, no, that's stupid. That's horrible advice.
Exactly.
In terms of like when two people come together, whether it's business partners or relationship or friendship, 1 + 1 isn't 2, it's 10, it's 1,000, depending on what you bring to the table and how willing you are. Self-Mastered is that, because it's not just coaching. It's not just the course that, blows your fucking mind. It's the community, it's the accountability. And since we're talking about spirituality, and I believe in it fully, and I think it's real, it's not like Santa, like it only exists whether you think it does or not. It's like gravity, like it exists whether you think it's there.
Exactly.
You can jump off a building and be like, gravity's stupid. You're gonna meet Jesus in 30 seconds, right? So I think when you put yourself in the energy of, I'm ready to invest in myself and I'm ready to do things that I might not have seen before, and I'm willing to be open-minded and change my life and actually believe that there is a better way going forward than just trying to white knuckle things myself or only work on the business strategy. I think when you put yourself in that mindset, it really unlocks your ability to get that hockey stick exponential growth. And it comes much quicker than you think it does. And in ways that you probably wouldn't have guessed before. Because that's what happened.
Totally. And that happens to pretty much everyone that we train with. Once they really get into that, it's just, they can't even fathom first how they were doing what they were doing before jumping in, but also who they've become and how quickly has that happened, both revenue-wise and personal. Dude, I'm honored to have you in the community. You make everything easier and better. And now it's time to map out the next few months, years together, and how fast can we scale together?
Actually, one more thing I wanted to say, because I think I finally got it. If you're tired of burning out and you don't want to burn out, because I don't think, fuck, I should include this in the course. I don't think people realize what burnout is. They think burnout is a symptom of their business, but it's a symptom of who you are and what's going on underneath. So if you think like, I'm burnt out and I want to get rid of it, that's the perfect gateway drug to get into Self-Mastered, because it will teach you how to stop burning out, but it won't be through productivity hacks and self-help nonsense. It'll actually be through changing who you are as a person and getting you to the point where you just don't put yourself in that situation. If you're an entrepreneur who wants to scale and you don't want to burn out and you don't want to overwork yourself, Self-Mastered is perfect for you. It's more than perfect. It'll exceed your expectation. And that's not me boosting. I wasn't paid to do this. I truly see the benefit of being a business owner who develops himself and develops who they are on the business side of things and the technical side of things, and pairing that with the spiritual and mental and emotional performance stuff. Once you pair them together, there is no ceiling to what you do.
Exactly. Technical skills, performance skills, right? If you're 10 out of 10 on the what to do, and you're also 10 out of 10 on how to do it and why you do it, dude, there's literally no limit to what you can accomplish. Nicolas, absolute pleasure as everything. Thank you very much for your time, and speak soon on one of the calls in the program. All right?
Absolutely. Okay.
Cheers, man. Bye-bye.
Talk.